Jorge Martin has not turned a single lap on a Yamaha. He has not run the engine, not felt the front end load into a corner, not touched the bike he is supposed to win a title on. And he is already talking about problems. The 2024 world champion just signed the biggest reset bet of his career. A factory Yamaha seat built entirely around the 2027 rules revolution. Everyone sold it as a clean slate, a fresh grid, a chance to beat Ducati from zero. So why is the man hired to lead that project already managing expectations before it even begins? And what does he see that Yamaha's own press release does not want you thinking about? Here is why that matters more than a passing quote in an Italian magazine. Martin is not a development rider padding out a garage. He is a champion spending the sharpest years of his career on this one decision. When a rider like that starts forecasting trouble before the project even exists, he is not being humble. He is doing the math, and the math around 2027 is uglier than the marketing admits, because this is not one change Yamaha has to survive. It is a stack of them, landing all at once, on a team that has almost nothing left to lose. That is the part the clean slate story quietly skips. Start with what 2027 actually does. MotoGP is tearing up the current formula. The engines shrink from 1,000 cubic centimetres down to 850 cubic centimetres, with the bore squeezed from 81 millimetres to 75. Fuel drops from 22 litres to 20. The aero gets cut back, the tails get lower, and the ride height devices that define a modern lap get banned outright. Every bike on the grid becomes a different animal overnight. Now add the part that turns a technical reset into a genuine gamble. Michelin is gone. Pirelli takes over as the only tyre supplier, and in this sport, the tyre is not an accessory. It is the entire conversation between the rider and the track. Change the tyre, and you change how every corner feels, how the bike stops, how it turns, where the limit actually lives. So a rider chasing a championship is not being handed a clean slate. He is being handed a bike he has never ridden, on a tyre nobody fully understands yet, under aero rules nobody has optimised. For most of the grid, that is a challenge. For Martin, betting his prime on it, it is a question he clearly cannot answer. And the man usually so careful with his words did not stay quiet about it. Speaking to Motosprint, Martin laid it out with a bluntness that should worry every Yamaha fan. He said, "For me, just changing the tyres would have been revolutionary, so adding the new bikes makes the revolution even more significant." Read that back. He is not describing an opportunity. He is describing a compounding risk, one change stacked on another until the ground under him disappears. And here is where it gets worse for Yamaha specifically, not the grid in general. Because there is one more part of this that almost nobody puts in the headline. Yamaha is not simply adapting its bike to the new rules. Yamaha is throwing away its entire engine. The inline 4 that has defined the M1 for a generation does not survive the new formula. When Yamaha's engineers read the 2027 regulations, they realised the inline layout would not work at 850cc with that narrower bore. So they scrapped it and switched to a V4, which means Yamaha will race 3 fundamentally different motorcycles in 3 seasons, the old inline, a new V4 this year, and an 850cc V4 built from a blank sheet for the reset. Sit with what that does to Martin's problem. He is not inheriting a refined machine with years of data behind it. He is inheriting a first-generation everything. Engine, chassis balance, electronics, all being invented in real time while he is supposed to be fighting for wins on it. Now put that against the baseline. This is not a champion joining a sleeping giant that just needs a spark. Yamaha has not won a race since 2022. Their best result across this entire season is a single 5th place. Their lead rider, Fabio Quartararo, a former world champion himself, sits 14th in the standings. That is the floor Martin is stepping onto. Not a platform, a hole. And still, when the moment came to sound worried or sound like a leader, Martin picked a phrase that tells you everything. He said the riders would have to make the most of it, but that these were, in his words, problems for the future. Problems. Not challenges, not opportunities. Problems. And he is already filing them away before he has felt a single one of them himself. But the story doesn't end with a nervous quote. Watch what is happening around it. Martin is still an Aprilia rider right now, still chasing this season's championship in Aprilia colours, and Aprilia has reportedly moved to block him from testing the 2027 machine before he leaves. Think about that timing. The one bike he has already flagged in public as a problem is the exact bike he is now being denied early laps on. Every month he cannot test is a month his rivals spend learning a formula. He will have to meet cold. So here is the flip. Everyone framed the reset as Martin's equaliser, the great leveller that erases Ducati's advantage and lets a champion drag Yamaha back to the front. But listen to what Martin himself is actually saying, and the whole story inverts. He does not sound like a man who believes the reset saves Yamaha. He sounds like a man quietly bracing for it to expose them. This was never really about whether Martin can adapt to 850 cubic centimetres. Every top rider will adapt. It is about whether Yamaha can build a winning bike from a blank sheet, on a new tyre, with a brand new engine layout, faster than every rival doing exactly the same thing with more recent success behind them. And Martin, before his first lap, has already told you which way he is leaning. So let us be honest about what that Motosprint quote really was. It was not humility. Champions do not accidentally lower expectations. When Martin called the reset a problem for the future, he was not managing his own bar. He was managing Yamaha's. He was building the frame that explains a slow first season before that season has even started. And that is the uncomfortable truth under the clean slate story. A reset only helps you if you can execute it faster than everyone else. It does not reward the team furthest behind. It punishes them, because it strips away the one thing Yamaha needed most, time to slowly close a gap, and replaces it with a race everybody starts at once. Martin can see that. That is why a champion who should be selling belief is instead filing problems away for later. Yamaha hired him to prove the reset is their salvation. His own words suggest he already suspects it might just be a faster, more public way to fall short. The bet is enormous. His prime years, their credibility, all of it riding on a bike nobody has raced yet. And the man in the saddle is bracing before the lights have even come close to going out. So maybe the real question was never whether the 850cc reset levels the grid. Maybe it is whether Martin already knows it will not save Yamaha, and just told us without ever saying it directly. What do you think he really meant? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.